Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Beth and today we'll be doing reviews of Stephen King's new book, Billy Summers, alongside a speed paint of Alice Maxwell, one of the characters in the book. First, I'll do a spoiler-free one, so you can decide whether or not you want to read it. Then I'll give a complete review, with spoilers and everything, to let you know what I thought and hopefully start a discussion. If you like this format, let me know down below in the comments, and maybe subscribe to the channel. Okay, let's get into the spoiler-free review. My overall rating of this book would be a 3.5 out of 5, because I did enjoy reading most of it. It is a crime fiction book, and the crime aspects are pretty fast-paced and entertaining. However, a sizable chunk of the book is focused on the military, which I'm not so interested in. I also have a couple of other issues with the book, but I'll delve into those in the spoiler-filled review. But anyways, what is my bottom line? Would I recommend this book? I'd say yeah, if crime and action is something that interests you. It's a great book, the plot is pretty interesting, and the characters are well developed. Now we're getting into the spoiler-filled review, so click off if you don't want to be spoiled and come back after you finish the book. Anyways, why else did I give the book a 3.5 star rating? Well, first, let's talk about what I liked. I thought the characters are really interesting and well developed, especially Billy. His dumb self, the image he keeps up in front of most people, adds tension to the story. His whole thing of being a bad guy who only kills bad guys, and that whole struggle with morality is great, too. Of course, you can't forget the funny way that he absolutely hated Hoff's beard, comparing it to a sunburn and wondering if women would ever want to kiss it. Pretty solid roast, I'd say. On that subject, Hoff is also a great character. Annoying, maybe, but interesting. He's like the weakest link in the whole group. Someone get Anne Robinson on the line. And Billy kind of hints at him potentially spilling the beans at some point. So it's not a huge surprise that he dies or anything. But I enjoyed reading about that whole plotline anyways. You know, he provides some intrigue to the earlier parts of the book. Reading about the relationship between Bucky and Alice is really nice too. It gives off a father-daughter kind of vibe, and it's overall just really sweet. Probably because he got to skip the whole diapers, teen angst, and assassin for hire phases. My guess is he's mostly avoiding that last one because of Billy. The ending's pretty good too. I am, of course, happy that Alice survived. Good thing she's not a dog, eh? I hear those don't fare too well in Stephen King's books. I also like the way they set it up so that we first see Alice's idealized, sort of unrealistic version where Billy survives, but then the book goes, actually, that didn't happen. It's a bit of an unexpected twist, which is always fun to read. Now, onto the things that I didn't like. Firstly, I feel like some of the parts of the book just drag on for a bit too long. Like the military parts I mentioned earlier, where Billy recounts his military past in the form of a book he's writing. Sure, it's great for character development, but personally, I feel like it was a bit boring and unnecessary. In my opinion, if you want to write a military book, that's fine. Do that. But this one was certainly not advertised as such. It was meant to be about crime and assassins, and it was maybe just marketed to the wrong audience. Or it was trying to do too much with one book. Unless Stephen King is trying to make the case that military is just government-sanctioned organized crime. But that's firstly very controversial, and secondly, reading into it a little too much. Regardless, I'm not a huge fan of those military parts, as well as the parts where Billy and Alice are living in his hidden apartment, or the section about living with Bucky. I also had a bit of an issue with the second half, where Alice Maxwell is introduced. Because while she's a wonderful character, strong and brave, and just overall quite likable, the way she's described and her interactions with Billy are pretty uncomfortable. Her introduction arrives in the form of being, quite literally, dumped outside Billy's door after being sexually assaulted. And that's why I take issue with some of the descriptions, and Billy's reactions, which are quite graphic and somewhat sexual. Of course, the book acknowledges this, but I'm still wondering, why did they keep it in if they realize it's inappropriate and grotesque? And then later on, sometimes it feels like Billy and Alice are like father and daughter, but sometimes it's a bit more like lovers. At some point, she offers to... I don't know how to say this without flagging something in the YouTube system, but she basically offers to help him in a sexual way. Just as a reminder, Billy is over 40 years old and Alice is closer to 20. Basically a baby adult. All in all, their dynamic is just not great, and I hate it. But yeah, that's all I have to say about Billy Summers. If you've watched all the way to the end, leave a blue emoji in the comments. Thanks for watching, and bye!